All right, guys. So today was a big day, and I want to talk to you guys about what happened with the Fed. The Fed meeting. Fed Chair Jerome Powell had a meeting today. The Federal Reserve, they announced what decision that they've made and what decisions they're likely to make going forward. So I want to talk to you guys briefly about what this is going to mean for the average American. I also want to share a message that I received from a Social Security recipient, and it's a little concerning, and it's definitely having a huge impact on Social Security checks. So if you're receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI, this is definitely something that you're going to want to hear more about. Also, there are some states that have extended their EBT allotments, their SNAP and EBT allotments. And I'm not going to discuss all of that in detail in this particular video, but I've released a number of videos recently, so you guys can take a look at those for that information. SNAP, PEBT, as well as EBT allotment updates on previous videos. You guys can check those out, as well as a number of different states that are still issuing out tax refunds and or state level stimulus checks. You guys can check those out on previous videos. But let's talk about what happened today with the Federal Reserve. So a lot of changes have been happening with the Federal Reserve's decisions in our economy in terms of inflation. Now, the original plan from the Federal Reserve was to address inflation through using their different monetary tools that they have available to them. Now, the most popular tool that the Fed is using right now is the ability to increase interest rates. So what we had seen throughout 2022 is essentially an unprecedented rate of rate hikes, federal level rate hikes. And we've seen 4 back-to-back 75 basis point rate hikes coming right out of the Fed. And as a result of this, we've seen an immediate stoppage of the demand for real estate. Home prices really haven't crashed, but home sales demand has plummeted. That is the crash that we've seen. We've also seen a significant decline in the stock market. We've seen a drastic impact on our 401k balances, our IRA balances, your Roth IRAs, any type of stock market investment portfolio brokerage account you might have. You've seen a drastic decline in this. So the Fed has literally been destroying the economy. And unfortunately, their goal is the exact opposite of what your goal is. Your goal is to make more money. Your goal is to be able to make enough money to feed your family, whether you're making minimum wage, you're middle class, making $70,000 a year, $100,000 a year. Maybe you're making, $200,000 a year. I don't know what your income level is. I don't know if you work a regular job, you're a salary worker, maybe you're an hourly worker. Perhaps you've got a business of your own. Maybe you run your own business. Maybe you're your own boss. Maybe your primary source of income is passive income, residual income. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. I don't know what your income status is. However, the Fed's decision is affecting each and every single one of us, regardless of our income levels. However, it depends on where your income level is, which will dictate how much of a negative effect that you will face. Now, one thing that I have seen over previous recessions, I've been through a few different recessions, and one thing I've always learned is that with every single recession, high inflation, deflation, you name it, with every single recession, there is always a significant opportunity to make money during these times. And I'm not just talking about making money in the stock market. There's different business merger and acquisition opportunities. There's new side hustle opportunities that open themselves up. You would be surprised how many different types of opportunities open themselves up during recessions. And it's actually the opposite of what most people would think. You would normally think, oh, recession, this is a time where you're going to be losing money. And a lot of people find themselves in that situation where they're losing their jobs, their incomes are declining, hours are being cut at, your job if you happen to be an hourly worker, especially if you're in retail. Generally speaking, hours are going to be cut when it comes to retail worker employment levels. However, there are a tremendous amount of opportunities that I've been finding more of during recessionary time periods. So if you guys would like to learn more about these different lazy side hustles and investment opportunities, and when I say investment opportunities, I'm not talking about investment opportunities where you need, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000. There's a lot of investment opportunities that I have found that have paid off in multiples with under $100 investments. Some of these opportunities you can start making money with no money out of pocket. But it will require some of your time. So if you guys want to learn more about those different income generation methods, definitely hit me up in the comments down below. Also, you guys know we talk about this in our Patreon family community. There's a link for that in the description down below. If you'd like to learn more from the side hustle side of the game, basically, in order to survive this recession, the smart folks are creating multiple streams of income, because if you're depending on one source of income, if you've only got one check coming in, and I don't care if that check is Social Security check, I don't care if you have a monthly stimulus check coming in, you've got your maybe you're a salary worker, you're an hourly worker. If you only have one check coming in, is very dangerous. Let's just say it's very dangerous. And especially during a recession, let's just say there's some massive layoff at your job. Everyone gets canned, or a large percentage of the employees at your job get canned. I don't care if you work at Walmart, Target, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Costco, wherever you work. Redfin, if you're in the real estate industry, maybe you work for a mortgage company, and as mortgage companies are struggling to generate the profits and the revenue to keep their business afloat, they're laying people off. They can't keep paying people who don't have anything to do, and they don't want to keep paying people if there's not enough business to sustain the need for that particular position. So to be super confident with only one stream of income is kind of naive, in my opinion. It's not it's not the smartest way to build wealth, and it's certainly a dangerous way to play this game in this economy, especially right now. So Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he basically came out and said, hey, they're going to raise interest rates by 0.5 percentage point, 50 basis points, right? Now, on the one hand, this is kind of good news, because we've seen 4 back-to-back 75 basis point rate hikes. So this is actually the first time that we've actually seen the Fed show signs of pivoting in terms of their interest rate policy. So does that mean that we're out of the woods yet in terms of the recession, or in terms of inflation? Absolutely not. In fact, Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve confirmed that we have yet to fully even see the impacts of the federal rate hikes that they've done over the last several months. We'll just say over the last several months, because I think the first rate hike started in March. As a matter of fact, I know it started in March. So also going into the next year, he already confirmed that there will be additional rate hikes. Now, the thing is inflation is still going up. The rate of inflation is declining, but inflation is still going up. So what I mean by that is let's just say you're walking down the street in your neighborhood, and it's a steep hill, and you're feeling how steep that this hill is in your calves and your legs. Your legs are like kind of on fire because of how steep the hill is, right? Well, so imagine that the hill is like this steep. Well, as inflation comes down a little bit, the hill begins to gradually decline. Now, it's still an incline. It's just not as steep. But what this means is that prices of goods, prices of products are still going up, but the rate at which they're going up has slowed down, but they're still going up. So if you're on a fixed income, say Social Security, SSI, SSDI, if you're a salaried worker and you don't have the ability to increase your income, if you don't have the ability to work extra hours, work overtime to increase your income to compensate for the higher prices of products and goods, then you could potentially be wiped out. And you could be wiped out in the form of not having enough money to pay all of your bills, or maybe you can't afford to purchase all of, however much groceries you normally buy in a week. Whatever the case is, there would be some type of shortcoming, some form of a shortfall as a result of your income not being able to keep up with the rate of inflation. Now, Fed Chair Jerome Powell did confirm that going into 2023, we could potentially see lower rate hikes going forward. Now, is there a guarantee? No. Now, the next Fed rate hike meeting, or I don't want to call it a Fed rate hike meeting, the next meeting from the Federal Reserve will be February 1st. So, guys, definitely mark your calendars. I want you guys to be aware of this. I want you guys to be aware of everything that's coming down the pipeline, because I don't want you and your family's financial security to be at risk of what is happening, what is coming down the pipeline. Also, pay attention to the real estate market. Even if you're not looking to buy a house, even if you're not a real estate investor, if you're a renter, if you own a home, if you're looking to sell a home, whatever the case may be, always pay attention to the real estate market, because it's going to be very, very interesting going into 2023. This will be the very first spring where we have seen interest rates for mortgages well above 5% in over a decade, probably. Yeah, probably over a decade. So it's going to be real interesting. And the reason why this is going to be interesting is, number one, how is the housing market going to behave going into the spring? Most people go out and purchase homes during the spring, but in this environment, we're seeing mortgage rates really realistically around 6%. So the scary part about this is, as people are traditionally going into the housing market to make purchases, maybe investment properties or first-time homeowner home purchases, it's going to be real interesting to see how many people return to the housing market to make a purchase with 6% mortgage rates. This is double what we saw last year. And so if I'm a renter and I know that my lease is up, or I'm going to be approaching renewal, I'm going to be a little concerned, because if more people are not hitting the housing market, actually buying up these houses, they're going to keep renting. And the real question is where are these rent prices going to be going? I get so many messages, people saying how much more their rent is going up and how they're not able to afford it. It's not even like, hey, my rent went up $200 and I just don't want to pay the extra $200. A lot of people are saying to me that they can't even afford the extra $200, even if they wanted to. So that's a really concerning thing. Now, one thing that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'm seeing this a lot more, it's a little concerning, is that Social Security letters are going out. Some people are receiving these special checks that we talked about. I don't know if you guys remember the special checks for Social Security. We talked about these in previous videos, so I'm not going to go too much into the special Social Security checks that a lot of people or some people are actually receiving. And we're not going to go into how you can get your special Social Security check in this video. We've already covered that at length. But what I want to talk to you about on this at this point is got a message. And essentially, this was a Social Security recipient. I don't know if it was SSI or SSDI. I don't have those details, but Social Security recipient has received a concerning letter from Social Security a while back, essentially saying that they overpaid her. Now, I don't know how many people watching this video have also received this, but this was very, very concerning, especially Social Security recipients living on a fixed income, of all people. So Social Security Administration indicated that they overpaid her, and she tried to appeal it because she said it wasn't her fault. I don't know how they overpaid her. I don't know the logistics behind that, but she said that they were overpaying her for an extended period of time. I don't know if it was an extra $100 a month, $400, $200 a month, $500 a month, extra $1,000 a month. I don't know how much Social Security was overpaying her, but ultimately, per month, they overpaid her by $32,000. Okay. Now, the scary part of this thing is she tried to resolve this thing. She realized she was being overpaid. So 2 years ago, she called the Social Security Administration and asked them, can they stop the overpayment for a couple of months? And essentially, the Social Security Department agreed to do so, according to her. So they told her that they will withhold the payment for about 6 months. This is what I'm being told. I wasn't there. So, and I hope that this situation isn't happening, widespread, because this created a huge mess for her. and for her family. So she said, she told them that she would be dead by the time that they collected all of the money. So apparently they started collecting, or they cut her Social Security benefits by $75 a month, which basically allowed her to repay this overpayment for Social Security by the Social Security Administration taking the money out of her checks. So she did this in 2019, and they are still withholding her overpayment. One day they'll catch up with her, she says. And she says here it is. She says she receives SSA and SSI, and I do not know what category I'm in. She says she's disabled. Shouldn't she be getting SSDI? She's 62 years old, and in 3 years, she can start collecting her deceased husband's Social Security. So a lot of moving parts here. But the big concern is how many people could possibly be in the situation where, whether you're in her situation or not, you're receiving a fixed income, and then suddenly that fixed income either gets reduced or gets completely eliminated. And so this is why it's almost naive. And this is not a dig on anyone. This is just me being concerned that if you have one check coming in, just only one check, it's a little risky. So if you guys want to learn more about different passive income streams, even active income streams, different ways to increase your income, I've got previous videos where I've shared more details on this. You can definitely check those out. But let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the Fed's latest decision to raise interest rates by another 0.5 percentage point. Big changes are coming in our economy, folks. I can't wait to share more details with you guys in terms of how to properly prepare, both from an investment standpoint, from a financial security standpoint. There's no reason for my community to be struggling if you're struggling. So I want to make sure I share whatever information I can with my community to help you to increase your income, increase your net worth, and diversify your income streams through whether it be an online business, a small business that you can run out of your house. I mean, home-based businesses, many people have replaced their primary income source with home-based businesses. These can be done. So you've got home-based businesses, you've got online businesses, you've got different side hustles. I have a lot of people in the community right now. They're selling products on Etsy. They're literally going into some of these stores like Hobby Lobby, for example, going into Hobby Lobby, taking, say, $3 worth of product and creating items that can be sold for $20 to $30 each. Can you imagine? You basically turn $2-3 into $30. And this is what they're doing. They're doing this while they're sleeping, because I don't know how familiar you guys are with selling products on Etsy, selling products on Amazon and eBay. This is e-commerce. So these are the types of little side hustles, small online businesses, if you will, that allow you to make semi-passive income while you sleep. Now, obviously, you need to do a little bit of upfront work, but these are ways that you can offset the cost of inflation. You can offset the effects of potential deflation of the US dollar. And this can help you to be able to have extra money to be able to invest in. You can reinvest in your business. You can, pay your bills, catch up on rent, whatever the case is. But the key is not to continue to struggle. If you're struggling today, I want you guys to understand that even if you're struggling today, you do not have to continuously struggle for the rest of your life. You do not have to. If you grew up poor, it doesn't mean that you have to always be poor. Your financial situation of the past does not have to be your financial situation of the future. So I just want to share these words with you guys. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Hope you guys got some value out of the video. If you have, drop a like for the video. Totally appreciate that. Also consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Be safe.